one in it. You don't need to know what the Thunderdome is. It's just what I'm calling it. That's right. Who would have thought? I can do both. Yeah, first of all, face reveal. Yeah. My eyes. Shut up. Shut up. Mic sound good? Shut up. We're gonna be yapping with yapping with the dog guy. What's that dog's guy's name? Whatever that dog guy. His name he's like a dog or whatever. We're gonna be yapping with him today. Okay. When he freaking finally reaches out. That's what it is. Bald hound. Bald mound, right? Something like that, chat. Bald somebody. Somebody, yeah. Drinking some piss. Drinking some piss. I gotta prepare myself. All right, he's messaging me, guys. All right, play it cool. All right. I put my full glam on. I look good. Do I look good, chat? How do I feel? I feel good. Thanks, Irish lad. Give you guys some. Yeah. 11 out of 10. Smooches. Thank you guys. Kind of surprise everybody. Whoa. Bet you didn't think a stream was happening today. I was reached out, doing a little bit of charity work. Doing a little bit of charity work for Maldhound here. He was like, whatever. I've been blown up on his algo or whatever, and we go way back. So, you look like an Australian retired bloke. All right, you just outed yourself as being British. Nobody says that. Nobody says bloke. Mr. Bacon Boy. Sorry, hang on, guys. We got a call coming in. Well. Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, it's still turning on. That's why I can't hear anything. Okay, hello.
Can you hear me?
It's working. I can hear you.
I can hear you as well. Perfect. Let me turn your volume up.
Chat definitely can't hear you. Oh, I turned you up way too loud. Okay.
Chat can hear you, I think. Chat? Can we hear him? Yeah. Oh, they can hear you. Unfortunately.
Excellent.
Okay.
This will only get worse and worse. I'm gonna open stream together and send an invite.
Okay. Sounds perfect. Send it on over.
An underscore. Did you not grab the OG? Did you not grab? Somebody robbed you? Somebody sniped you?
Probably's got it.
Some dumbass teenager.
Yeah, I've gotten. They've been blackmailing me for forever, trying to get me to. All right. Trying to get me to pay up.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's gonna happen with the Blue Sky account that's under my name.
Yeah, one of these days, dude, you got to get on the Blue Sky. That's the new meta.
Never ever. I can't be allowed to make text posts.
I feel like that's probably for the safety of the internet. A lot of people already are very shit posty on there, and I think you'd be sort of like letting a predator into a different habitat where they'll just immediately climb up the food chain.
I'm a non-native species.
Yeah, exactly. You're you don't belong.
I'm an invasive species of cat.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna eat all the birds. Like it's the like the only thing stopping me from saying some of the dumbest shit ever is having to watch it back before I post it on TikTok or YouTube. And even then, even then, man,
You don't
some
watch
dumb
it
shit
enough.
gets out there.
Yeah, there's
Right. There's
the
some,
bar is
I'm
too
like,
low. The bar is too low.
I got through the 48 seconds. I don't have to watch it again. It's fine. Publish it. Publish
Yeah.
it.
All right. Oh, you've definitely sent me the invite and I didn't see it. Oops. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let me turn on all right, my virtual camera's on.
Okay.
So you have my face. Have you ever done a virtual camera for Stream Together?
No, this will be great.
It's about to get fucking cranked up. What broadcasting service are you using?
OBS.
Keyboard mouse
perfect. So do you have a scene or a source that is like just your face cam?
Yes.
Okay. Then in the menu of controls by virtual camera, you're going to want to hit the little cog wheel. Then on output type, you're going to want to do the drop down, go to scene, and then put the output type to whatever scene is just your camera. Or if you just have a source that's just your camera, put the drop down to source, same thing. And then do output selection to whatever the thing is. And then if you start virtual camera, it should pop just your face into the Stream Together thing. And then we can like corner box, and it'll make it very nice it'll make it nice for the long form. It'll make it nice to seem like a little interview type deal.
Yeah. Let me get at least one step at a time. I got the whole
So close OBS.
Close it all, stop streaming.
You're gonna want to install a game called Long Live the Queen.
Okay.
My chat, you know what we're doing here. And then after about 4 hours of playing that game, you'll begin to understand.
Okay. Let's give him this and give him the microphone. Okay, we got that. Okay, camera. Okay, manage.
All right.
OBS
virtual camera. It's happening.
Okay.
It's happening.
Okay. So I got that. I got there. Don't worry, guys. We're making it work. Don't worry.
It's happening. This is how it happens. This is how it all happens.
Okay. Done. OBS virtual camera. See, now it's hitting me with a camera is in use. Set up a virtual cam. That is what I am indeed trying to do. Okay.
Keyboard, we're gonna dock. Don't worry about it. We're gonna cross the docking conversation after we figure out this whole camera business.
All right. Hang on. Let me turn off my cam. Sorry to my chat. You're about to go dark for a second. Everyone stay calm. Stay calm. Stop. Don't scream. Don't
Zero dark guacky.
Yeah.
Quips and dock. Oh, that would be, man. If the docking bit was not such deep inside baseball that it was already getting old, that would be such a good stream title.
End up a virtual camera.
I believe in you.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Don't worry. It's all part of the fun. Oh, this is a different one. This is a different web page that showed up. Okay.
Whole new shit.
Oh, start. There was a button that said, okay. Oh, easy. Okay. And then, under output type. Oh, I got it. Okay. All right.
It's happening. It's happening. I believe in you. I believe in you.
Source. And set. And then I should not have to be dark anymore. Okay. That thankfully Twitch is way better at explaining it than you are. Yeah.
What the fuck do you mean Twitch? I gave you like 3 steps, bro. It's 3 things. It was OBS, a cog wheel.
No, too many words, guys. Too many words.
Too many.
Okay. And
Didn't you build a deck that was only reading?
That was only words? No, maybe. No, there was exactly the opposite. Only pictures. Okay. Copy the browser source. What is this? Oh, so that I can show our cute collab on the thing? Okay. I'm gonna follow instructions.
I swear to God, we're gonna do all this, and you're gonna have done a totally different thing that I was talking about. We're gonna get
the rules. All right.
Right.
I'm following. Okay. All right, guys, be chilling. Oh, you don't need to worry about that. Okay. 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 Next. Add browser source to my streaming software. Okay. Easy.
Browser. Oh, right, to put me in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, I wasn't giving you instructions to set up your stream. I was giving you instructions to help
only
me.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Okay, it's working now.
There
We
I
have
am.
like 10 whole pixels. Holy shit.
There you go. But now I think my chat should be able to see you at least.
You look like you're in the witness protection program.
Why am I so small on there? I'm a big boy. What's going on?
You are a big grainy boy, is what you are.
On my end, I look beautiful. It's your fault.
Yeah, your stream, this looks great. This is hilarious because now we're in like I've had so many tech issues. This has never once been a thing.
It's all right. It's more beautiful this way. I'm like a mosaic, Pixel mosaic.
You're like a cryptid.
It's sort of like regular cameras can't capture the angle, like the shine. Yeah.
The level of chisel. Yeah. They cannot capture the depth of your mogging.
Exactly. All right.
I don't think there's chroma key. Hold on. Let me see if I have No, there's not chroma key. Or the chroma key nonsense is not what the problem is.
What about this?
Windows Vista camera.
Am I better now? Oh, I'm seeing what I look like on. Wow, that's why am I so pixelated over there? I can see.
Bro, you look like live footage of somebody being attacked by the Mothman.
I'm like one of those beheading videos. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, you're
all right. Let me figure out what's going on here because this is not. I promise.
This is really fun. No, I have your stream up too, and I can see that you obviously you have a good. I can see your fucking pores on your screen.
Dangerously, yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
Why am I? I'm like I'm an anonymous. Like I'm like I didn't want to actually appear on your stream. I'm embarrassed to be here.
I will never release the secrets of building my decks.
Yeah.
Never contact me again.
I'm just using. Okay.
Drivetrain, thank you for the Prime sub. While we are, I feel at home having to deal with tech issues on a collab stream. While we're dealing with tech issues, I'm gonna port you all into the fucking ad dimension while we continue getting set up, and then we should be off to the races.
Yeah. Seeing fine on here. I don't know why my cam is doing such silly maneuvers.
Wait, it was good. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're all right. You're normal now. You're normal now.
Huzzah, I'm
human.
Okay.
The monk marksman followed.
Now why are
Cecil?
Okay. I'm just gonna not question.
What's up?
Do you see these bars on either side of me? Is that just because I'm bad at
bars?
At least I have include my camera and I can see like two like gray bars. It might just be like I'm.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
Include my camera. So in the browser source, include my camera puts both of you as the. I found it easier to have I put my camera in one corner and I put the other person's camera in the other corner.
Yeah, which is I think I'll do that as well. All right.
The underscore night
Cecil, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Welcome back to Dog Heaven. And reminder, Cecil, we did new rewards for big gifters. You get to add an affirmation to the daily prayer if you so choose. Quips, that probably won't affect you, but it might.
Okay.
Be careful.
No problem. Here we go.
Oh, and I probably got to share this slideshow with you.
Which side am I on for you? Because I'm on left side of.
I'm on the right, and you're on the left on my screen.
I think that's what I'm going for as well. Do I look like I'm facing you? If you look at your OBS.
Yes.
Perfect. That's exactly. And we're you guys are seeing this too, right? Chat, my own chat. You guys are seeing this beauty.
Your own chat. There is no own chat. Okay. We are now docked.
We're the same.
The chats are now interacting. Praise be to 2 islands. I like that. I accept that. All right. Anyone with the link? Editor.
So you can.
I'm gonna
You're gonna.
message you.
Okay, gotcha. Meow 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 meow. Oh, I don't need. Ah, very cool. I see.
Excellent. All right, so this is going to be half vamp session, half interview, and half interactive lesson.
Beautiful.
For anybody who is not familiar with Quips&Guac's work, which I think you all are based on the pre-interview conversation we were having, Quips is resident gimmick deck builder of EDH and they have brought such hits such as Drunk Driving, a deck featuring all real-life animals. I believe I saw one that was like about going fishing with the boys.
Yeah.
Was that a
Yeah, just fishing. Just fish.
Just fishing. Just fishing. Just a lot of fish. And so the man, as Hellcat's saying, the man is a wizard with bringing horrible, horrible ideas to life in a game where I think many of us try to tunnel in on a gimmick or an artistic vision and then do it really, 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 really fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is going to be a bit of a conversation where I hope to extract some of the guacamole goodness from your brain.
Thank you. Sorry, hang on. I'm trying to pull up this slideshow so that my people can see. We're all the same people now, but.
Yeah, we're all one people. Someone on YouTube chat said, "Holy shit, it's a person. I thought it was the picture version of Darth Vader breathing."
What does that even mean?
Okay. You know exactly what it means.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. There we go. I've got it set up. I could have worn the costume. I do have an avocado costume. So that's there for your viewers and my viewers as well. So at some point we'll make it a goal. Okay. But I've got it pulled up. All technical issues have been resolved.
All tech issues are resolved. We are now ready to go. Let's start with a little bit light history. Why did you start building terrible decks, Quips&Guac?
So it all started with the fact that I didn't know how to build decks. So it sort of was a coincidence that the decks that I thought were good just so happened to also be horrible. And mainly I was like, I have a lot of fun with watching different animes and different stuff like that and be like, all right, whoa, that's cool. I'm new to Commander. And I thought that's kind of what Commander was, oh, you take like a guy, you put him in charge, and then you build a deck around an idea of what this guy does. And so to me, I was like, okay, yeah, so we can just pick a guy. One of my earlier videos was like Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. And I was like, that guy's sick. Let's build him in as a Magic the Gathering thing. And I didn't realize that that's not how you're supposed to really play the game. You're not supposed to be like, oh, I like this idea of a character. And I build because I'm coming from like a Minecraft era, like things you just build whatever you want. And so I had only been playing Magic for maybe 6 months before I started the channel. And so I don't have like a deep history of like, I started with Khans of Tarkir. I'm like 80,000 years old. And so that's sort of what got me into just building fun stuff. And it was also just a creative outlet. And so someone said the mythical bracket 1 player.
And I think this touches on a thing we're going to talk about and really a thing that we want to get your expertise on. And I feel you on I also was like, I think 6 to 8 months after I started playing Commander, I started making videos about Commander. And so I have much more time spent yapping than I have playing. But I think a lot of people want to play Commander that way, and they end up not playing Commander that way because they try to take the deck out, draw 7 cards, and go, never again. And Hanesso's called you the mythical bracket 1 player, but I think that you exist in a liminal space in which a lot of your decks might be called bracket 1 decks, but I think the goal for a lot of Commander players is to have a bracket 1 idea that can still keep up with bracket 2. And one of the first things that I'd like to talk about today is probably the first pitfall of this, which is when you have a silly idea, whether you think it's like a dumb gimmick or a character you want to bring to life or an activity you want to try to reflect in Magic the Gathering, how do we go from here's the silly sentence in my head to figuring out a way for this deck to win?
Yeah. I think I struggle with that. I remember I was lurking on I think 3-3 Elks like Discord, and someone was like, "This guy's a bracket 1 Andy.
Hey, thanks for the subscribe.
This guy does nothing. Like he's just
very cool.
He's just
very
a freak."
Nice. Kiss on the mouth.
And
Rat man.
and then that hurt me a little bit. I was like, "Ooh, man, I don't have ways to win." I was like, "Yeah, you're kind of right." I was very much committed to like theme over everything. Like I was like theme over like flavor, theme over everything. And so basically like interacting with kind of like the sweats really helped, I think, because it was like, oh, Trinket Mage has good ideas sometimes. Who would have thought? And
well,
so
all right. First of all, don't say his name here.
okay, yeah, he still died in the car accident. Yeah,
he's dead. He's dead. He's dead to me.
Yeah, congrats. You're lucky. You're lucky. He's still hitting me up last minute. He's like, yo, let's hang and let's stop, bro. We got our own thing going. But mainly it's just like you become a better player. And it's, again, I only started like 6 months before I started making content. So just as you become more entrenched in like, here's how to play stuff. Here's how to, you play more games. You're like, oh, I kind of want to win. And I also think it was like, hang on, one of my friend, my rapper name in high school was Dr. Prophet. Someone redeemed a highlighted message for that. And that is true. It was Dr. Prophet.
That's a good name.
Right? Because the idea was it's profit spelled with an E and an I. So it's like I can see the future, but I'm also making money. That was the...
I'm gonna go ahead and hang up.
Okay.
no, that's
but back to the
last name.
It was mainly like gimmicks are only so good if they actually have a chance to win. Because you can play like the drunk driving deck or something like that and get a laugh. But it's even, I feel like, funnier if you could actually get wins with it. Because then people will be like, not only is this deck thematically cinema, but it's also functional. And I think also from like a viewership perspective, people are like, okay, you just put cards together and said, oh, look at this. But it doesn't actually perform as well. Like I think my land base was always messed up. I think my, there we go. I think my, like, I didn't have ramp. I didn't have removal. I just had like 60 creatures and 30 lands. And I was like, this is function. This is a deck. So I think slowly it became from like, all right, bracket 1 Andy to like at least bracket 2. Like at least it can do the job it wants. And I think just in general, if you chatters want to build like a gimmick deck, I think you can still find ways to make your gimmick the focus, but also still have a coherent idea of what your deck wants to do. So you got to draw cards. That's a like mandatory thing you got to do. You got to have like removal, mandatory, but you can still do weird gimmicky things. You can still run all those old cards that are like the board, like the brown poop border that are like no one's talked about for 1,000 years just because they're really fun. And I think that's kind of how you go from gimmick to win is like you still have interaction, you still play the game, but you're like your game plan is I play the game long enough so I can pull off my gotcha. This whole time I've been doing this thing on the back burner. And it's also like you can have gimmicky cards that still do a lot. I think Molly said Prisoner's Dilemma, like cards like that where it's like this is fun. The player, everyone loves Mob Verdict, all these like votey cards that are not like CEDH standard, but they're really fun to play. And so I think that's kind of like my philosophy is like, if it's fun to play for you and it involves your opponents in a fun way, I think that's what I always have fun with. And usually you'll win in a moral victory because you did something really funny. But you can sometimes, I'd say like, maybe it's not the equal 1 in 4 chance, which is like every commander game you should win 1 out of 4, right? Theoretically. If it's like everybody's even, but you'll win maybe like 1 out of 6, 1 out of 8, which is like not the best odds. But when you get that historic victory, then you're like, all right, on to the next, thing.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think I'm rocking like a 2% commander win rate, because I play bad for the bit all the fucking time. And so it is fine. Like there's the in a perfect world, if the game was fair, we would all win 25% of the time. But Commander is a deeply unfair game. And I think very, very
Wolf
few people
Slays
get the sample size necessary to reach these types of like mathematical truths. Quips, are you in slideshow mode on this?
Yeah.
Go out of that shit.
Oh, we're on edit mode, huh?
We're on edit mode. I'm adding shit,
okay.
dog.
I was like, I should be playing along, huh? Okay.
No. We're doing this live. None of this is prepared. We are crafting this together.
I thought it was.
And I've been paraphrasing what you've been saying.
Got it. Okay. Well, I can. I'm so sorry. I'm just making you. I'm just saying like yada yada, and you're like typing this whole time. That's my bad. Making you do work.
Ice Age cards only. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to type. As you speak, I am going to lie about what you said in print, which is technically libel, but that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So what point in the process of the deck build, like either how many cards, like when you come up with a gimmick, do you immediately arrest yourself and say like, what am I going to do to make it win? Or do you get like 75 cards in and then go, oh, I need to find like a crowbar or a comically large mallet to hit somebody with? Or do you get to the end and then go, oh, I messed this up. Let me go back and on draft 2, give it a way to compete in the game, even if it doesn't have to win consistently?
Yeah. I think I've definitely gotten like probably a whole deck deep and been like, this isn't what I envisioned this deck to be. Because sometimes it'll fall into that pitfall of like, you go on EDH Rec and you become like, you go down just like what everyone else is building and you're like, yeah, genius. This fits in the theme, obviously. But then you look at it, you're like, wait, this is actually just what this deck already wants to do. This is already like the idea of it. And so, yeah, I think part of it is like you can go so deep into somebody else's. The worst thing is someone's already made that. That's my least favorite thing. Is like I get a thing and I'm like, damn it. I like, you know, I'm like, all right, what how can I make this work? Or like, what's a good commander that fits the gimmick? And then somebody's already made it. And I'm like, no.
How often does that happen? How many times has that happened to you?
That's happened maybe 3 times, I think 3 or 4 because I try not to like look it up, but sometimes I'll be like, actually though, I do need to know if like where all these things are. I think the one that was most recent was I did like a oops all art, like it was just like no text or whatever. And that one like multiple people have made over the years. And so for me it was like, oh, someone has made that already. How do I not make it that? And just like, you could, instead of me presenting it, you could just go watch like their video that people have seen already. And so that's like some of the difficult parts sometimes. But if you're building like a gimmick from scratch, I think that's a lot more fun. Because I get a ton of comments where like, why don't you build it with this guy? This guy's actually a better fit. And I'm like, I didn't Google it, bro. I just only have so much knowledge in my head about what cards do. And so
I didn't spend 12 hours in the Scryfall mines. What do you want from me?
Yeah. And so that was, Scryfall. That was one of the worst. I did this whole deck where it was just like eyeballs or something, like blind people. And then they were like, hey, by the way, you could just do Scryfall art tag, by the way. I think I like punched my monitor. Because I spent hours like looking for cards that had blindfolds on and stuff like that. I'm like, where can I find them? And yeah, Scryfall.
Strawbread_followed.
Who would have thought?
Okay, so Scryfall.
But I did see that, by the way. You make fun of everybody equally. Make fun of everyone equally. That's the South Park method.
Okay, so as you've done more, do you find yourself erring towards, like, have you found yourself gravitating towards a certain point in the process where you are stopping yourself as you get more experience with it, or is it still just like free form? I'll figure out how to make the deck play magic at some point, and do you just kind of like I guess ad-libbing would be the correct way to frame it?
Yeah, I think half of my stuff is like ad-libbed in the sense of a lot of the times I'm building it for video's sake, and so I'm like, all right, how do I not only make this like a deck that works, but also a deck that's entertaining to watch explained for the most part. And so I try not to do like the same kind of color combinations in videos back to back, Because to me, it was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at all these cards. I've been looking at these cards for like 2 weeks now. I don't want to look at
Mm-hmm.
more Teamer cards. You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
Right.
Teamer works as a deck because it's really strong. It's like a strong color combo. But I don't want to keep making like, hey, here's another Teamer deck that works with whatever theme you want because Teamer is really good. And so, yeah, I think I've still gotten on the winging it perspective of like trying to look up what cards fit really well and just being like, oh, I've never seen this card before, and I don't think anyone has either. Put it in there and figure out how it fits later. A lot of the time, my videos reflect the process of like, all right, I have all these cards I've gathered then, and by the end, then I have to be like, all right, actually, how does this win? And then I have to figure out and piece out the win condition.
Okay, so you're getting like a big bucket of all the different paints and then being like, does this make a picture? And if it doesn't, then we revisit.
Yeah, we revisit or we like tweak to be like, all right, I like the way this looks. I like the vibe or the essence of it, but how do I make it actually function and still attract people to be like, oh, this is a cool concept. Never thought of this before. This deck looks like a lot of fun. I'll be proxying it with my group. And you're like, okay, perfect. That's a victory. That's a W.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you about the other angle.
Yeah.
Are there any gimmicks you've been like, oh fuck, this is just too well supported to be interesting? I think an example I'm thinking of is a lot of actually this week I looked at a deck where somebody was like, yeah, I had the idea of making a all kicker deck from Verazol, I think it was, but it was a Simic commander who cared about removing 1/1 counters to let you copy a kick spell. And like 10 cards into the deck, I was like, my guy, this is a 1/1 counter deck. Yeah. Because they put in like a little, you start mixing in a little bit of like, well, I should support the 1/1 counters here because it'll help the kicker game plan.
Hardened Scales is a one drop. I just play a little.
Right. Yeah. And they had a hardened scale. So have you ever had a gimmick where you were like,
slippery slope.
Oh, I've overtuned this because I began stretching the definition of the theme?
Yeah. I think, is that the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay,
slide
perfect.
3.
Yeah. Keeping why counters are bad. Yeah, I think I've definitely sort of fallen into pitfalls of like, sometimes you can get too sweaty where I'm like, all right, actually, I want to win really bad. I want this deck to actually win. So we're going to put on all the like win more cards and all the win things. And then I'm like, all right, actually, we just lost the plot really hard. Because again, it becomes like the slippery slope of like, all right, I'll add in a hardened scales. And like, well, hardened scales not enough. Maybe I'll just throw in like a doubling season just so I can for the minion tokens. I needed to make more like, Despicable Me minions. But then you're like, all right, but then actually you're playing Ozurtak, you're making like triple minions. This is at this point, this is not even a funny deck anymore. This is like, just a bad deck of what this theme already wanted to do. And so I think you can like, it's fun to hold an arm behind your back and be like, I'm going into this knowing I could build it better, but because I want this gimmick, I have this idea of what I want. I'll sort of play with cards that are less optimal, but more thematic, more synergistic with the thing it's already going. Theoretically.
Do you have any heuristics or like check-ins you use for identifying when we've lost the plot? Like, is there any type of test you subject the deck to, whether it's in like goldfishing or just you looking at it where you start to go like, maybe I did turn this just into every other go wide deck instead of a Despicable Me minions deck?
Yeah. I think one of those that happened recently, I did one where it was only cards that had like 10 mana value or higher. And then I was looking and I was trying to find stuff. And in the goldfishing, I had to because in my head, I was like, I'll just run every 10 mana value card in this color combination. Because that's like what the deck is about. You want like all the cool big things. And then I goldfished it probably like 30 times and was like, actually, I can never get to 10 mana. I can actually never like by turn 7, actually never do the thing that this deck wanted to do. And so it felt really bad, but I was like, cut all the Eldrazi. All the ones that I personally couldn't afford, they're out of there. I'm not going to tell people to buy them if my broke ass cannot get them. So get them out of there. And removed a lot of like the really bad, like just big green creatures that just sat there. Because I'm like, fits perfect with the deck, but you know, I can't in good faith be like, you waited this long. This is the final. You get to finally play your 10 mana card, and it's just a 10/10, and it does nothing else. So there have been times where I've had to be like, all right, let me goldfish it to make sure this is playable. Like I put in air quotes playable.
Right.
But like something I'd be like, okay, if someone handed this to me, it was like, you're sitting down, you have to play this Quips. You built this. I'm going to make you sit in like a saw chamber and play this deck until it wins. I want to at least realistically be able to escape with a deck that does
you
something.
Want to get out of the chainsaw trap.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if I built a deck that was like, this deck's really cool, but it has 0 chance, you cannot do anything with it. It's just cool. It's not enough.
Capped Mal Reynolds followed.
So how often do you goldfish the fuck out of every deck? Like how much goldfishing are you generally doing when you're trying to interrogate the playability of a gimmick deck?
I would say probably not as much as I should. But it's also like, I don't care. I'm not going to play these decks. I think they're really fun thematically, but I can't be expected to like, you know, play every single one. And it's also like the people that I would play these against, I would have my fun deck, my one thing that I like. I think I did a literary one that was all like plot and foretell. Like that deck was really fun, and I'd play that one. But for like, you know, each person has their own thing that they like. The furries, I think, are eating good with the animal only deck today. They're losing their mind. Got a lot of comments about that, and I was like, I didn't even think about the furry angle.
Followed.
But yeah, I goldfish when I feel like the vibes are like, I need to goldfish this. But for the most part, sometimes it'll be like, this just functions. This just does what like it has green. You can get land. No need to goldfish. It's good. Or it's got blue. Hey, we're chilling. You know. I'll run a couple if it's like a cantrippy deck or something like that.
And also Jeffrey Bezos.
So that's just my take on it. Green decks always work, blue decks always work. Anything that's not that though, I have to look a little bit deeper just to make sure. It's usually how it goes.
Okay, let's move down to the next slide. So for where's the line, I'm thinking about like, when are there gimmicks that you're ever like, this is too specific or too convoluted, or I don't think I can make a deck that does work and honestly lives up to the gimmick? Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah. I would say for sure I've got a like my comment section is like filled with suggestions. Some of them I'm like, I wish I could do this one. And I maybe will. But there's other ones where I'm like, the comment will be like, my grandma served in the war. Can you make a grandma's fighting in the war deck? And I'm like, okay, no, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. There's not a world where I can pull that off. But the hard part is, if everybody wanted that grandma goes to war, I would have to make it work, which I think is part of like the dynamic I have with my viewers, is at least like, listen, I'll make it work, but please give me something I could act like, you know, something that's feasible. Pangolin tribal. Yeah. And a lot of times it's like, I have a lot of creative control, thankfully. So I'll put in stuff that no one wants. I'm like, Shadow, he's in the game now. Latinas, make it happen. We're making it happen. Nobody asked for this, but that's a self-insert right there.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Wise Gerbil. How obscure is too obscure, and how obscure is not obscure enough? Because Grandma Goes to War, I think the problem with that to me sounds like it's too buildable. Like there's not enough. Yeah. You can't really define a boundary there other than they're going to be feminine humanoids that look old. Yeah. And they're going to go to combat, which is like, you could build that accidentally.
Yeah. You could just be like, oops, this is my, I think to me it's, I like to have some sort of like narrative about it. Like at least some sort of fun thing, like a theme that pulls me in some way, or relates to like whatever my weird nerdy interests are outside of Magic. I like to pull on those for videos. I would say like too obscure would just be like super like hyper niche. A lot of times I don't like it when I'm told what commander they want me to build, or they like commander and playstyle and thing. And I'm like, dude, you seem like you have an idea already that you want. It's sort of like, I don't want to be outsourced. I don't want to be like hey, I have this. I get like maybe 3 or 4 emails to my business email about like people who have very specific decks they want. And I think that's the line. If you're emailing me, you need to not be
Scarlet
emailing
Winter
me.
followed.
Don't be blowing up my do not contact me. I will not. Yeah. Let me see. I don't want to dox anybody, but I will read some.
Well, I'll get similar things that happen when, especially with the like, when it comes to the recommendations angle. I've had a number of people who I think mean well, and on a video where I try to make a joke, will say, "Oh man, it would have been really funny if you did blank," you know. And sometimes they'll talk about do a different reference, do like this pun. I've had some people comment like multiple paragraphs.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it's like, oh, this is like a video you should go film.
Yeah. You've got the whole premise, dude. You've got it. Like someone just emailed me about a Harley Quinn deck with Obeka and running a whole bunch of other stuff that's just like, listen, dude, you've got the idea. You've already got like, you know, makeup lady does cool stuff. Harley Quinn, big hammer. Like what, you know? And I'd love to make that, but I only have so much time to make other things, is generally the idea. But if it's something broad, like, hey, the idea of Chekhov's gun, I'm like, give me that. I'll work on that. I'll do something freaky with that, or like drunk driving. Oh, very open-ended for the most part. I'll figure it out. So.
Wisegerbil followed.
Because I also think part of the fun and also the free engagement bait is when they're like, I would have taken this a separate direction. And you're like, perfect. That means it's a good idea. Because there's the whole game is, you're better than me, obviously. You have a better idea. You should, here's my YouTube. You run the channel, bro. You got a better idea. But no, for the most part, it's like, I like when people are inspired to be like, oh, I like this idea, but I'd take it in this direction. I'm like, dude, my job is done. So, but I'd say the line is just like, if it's too hyper specific or it's so open ended, it's got to be like right in the sweet spot. And usually, thankfully, like according to the distribution curve, most people end up liking the ones that are right in the middle anyway. And so those are the ones I end up building. Just works out pretty well.
That makes sense. I do think we have a good question from a name that's in dark blue, and so I can't possibly decipher it. But how long will you spend on a deck until you go, this shit's not going to work? Like, how long will you spend stuck before you think, I'm gonna shelf you either for a while or for eternity?
Yeah, I think if I sit there and I have no good ideas, if like usually a lot of times like I'll see a comment and I'll be like, oh, ding, I'll have like a little like Jimmy Neutron brain blast where I'm like, wait a minute, I can make this, I could do something with this. If I look at it, I'm like, why did people want this? This makes no sense. I can't do anything with it. What is going on? And I'll just like look at it and kind of give a stare. I'll give it a good college try though. I'll for sure 100% like, all right, let's hunker down. Let's think. That's when like the Google probably comes out where I'm like, all right, let me Google and see if someone better than me has thought of this already. And sometimes it's like, sometimes I'm spared and someone's thought of this. Other times it's like, nope, no, there's a reason why no one has built this before.
This is empty on purpose.
Yeah. And so that would be, it doesn't drive. I think those ones can be really fun because sometimes I'll be driven mad by them. The camera quality has fallen down a hole again.
Don't worry about it. Your bit rate shat the bed, but that's okay.
No, my bit rate.
Dog, what is happening on your stream right now?
I look perfect. I look fine. Everyone looks so good.
It's the sizing is crazy. The size of us versus the size of the PowerPoint is diabolic.
You're looking at it, dude. We're so cute.
Ours looks like, my side looks like a college course. Yours.
Oh my god, I'll play along, dude.
Oh no, it's fine.
I'm trying to show off how cute we are. My bad.
This is awesome.
My bad.
This is Quips&Guac's dark and twisted reality.
My bad. Goodness. They hate how the other half lives, for real. Oh my god, flaming
Myers
me.
More followed.
Coming in here flaming. Okay. Now I got
It was
this.
fine. It was just funny. It was an adjustment period.
Oh wow. I'm not being asked back on this stream, am
The
I?
Vonia
Yeah,
system
you are.
followed.
No, this is already too good.
All right. I'll shrink your little college professor. Look, there we go. Oh, I kind of hate how much better this looks.
Indra out followed.
Kind of hate how good this was. There we go. Look how cute we are. Okay, now
Yeah, there we go.
there we go. Where were we talking about? Where's
we
the
were talking
line?
about how
Yeah.
deep you can go down the rabbit hole and how you should Google and plagiarize others' work whenever possible.
Whenever it's convenient, not whenever it's like whenever possible. There's a lot, you know. And I think it's like
That's
there's the line of like, hey, if I really wanted to, I could just go ask the like all-knowing AI to be like, come up with this for me. And that's where I'm like, at least I have my humanity of like, whatever bad idea I have, I had this, me and me alone.
It's my bad idea.
Yeah, and I will own that.
Let's move to the next slide. So how do we go from a gimmick deck that is fun to talk about to a gimmick deck that is fun to play multiple times? Like are there any decks you have where you're like, I would genuinely want to play this again and again and again?
Yeah. I think I'll give my answer, and I will preface it by saying I do think this is sort like a half cop-out answer. I like decks that can steal stuff from other players. So like the fishing deck does a lot of like Atali ETB effects, where you like you get the top cards of everybody, you get all their cool stuff. I think those are fun because you get a different experience every time. As opposed to like people keep saying I look like censored nudes from 1995.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of do.
I'll turn on my camera on again. I'll watch
that. No, it's fine. It's fine.
No.
Tech issues will always prevail.
It's all right. I'm anonymous. I'm not here. Okay.
I think if anything, this would give the editor a lot to work with by just zooming in on your super blurred out face.
Yeah. And then give me like a robotic filter voice. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I guess if people want high definition, they have to come over onto my side. But yeah, I think those decks are really fun because it's basically like my deck can do its weird thing, but it's different every game because my opponents are playing different stuff. Which is why it's sort of like it's longevity because it's unique and fun every time. Which I think just says more about me as like a player, where I get tired of my own like winning strategy and decks, and so I like to play those effects just naturally because I think it gives everybody else a chance for their cards to show up, and have fun. Although it is kind of like some people don't like having their stuff stolen, but I'm like, why are you running the card if I can't play with your Jin Gitaxis? I didn't put it there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, take it up with your fucking Mox field.
Yeah,
I get that 100%.
Yeah, my brother, you made the sandwich. You know what I mean? Yeah. You made the sandwich.
Now you're mad that I've opened the face up.
And that look at the meats in there. Yeah.
MJ Variant, thank you very much for the raid and the follow. I hope you were having a good stream, my friend. So how is Atali a fish?
Atali does fishing. He's fishing to like find good stuff. And also dinosaurs primarily preyed on fish-like vertebrates. That's out of my ass, but I'm sure it's true. Tell lies.
Sure.
Well, see, that's the thing where it's like, hey, the idea is go fishing, right? That's all I was given. It's like have a deck where you go fishing. And so it's like, okay, it's sort of those things where like I had two ideas where it's like I want fish, but I also want fishing. So what does fishing look like in Magic? The idea of like you're trying to get a catch, right? You're reeling something in. Bing, bada, boom. Those kind of exile the top, 5 cards. Give me something cool. That's fishing because you never know what's in their deck. It's sort of like you're throwing the rod. You can pull it in. It's the argument. I think that's what's also fun for me is like, all right, I got to defend my bad choices, my choices, so that way it makes sense. And so,
I think that's an interesting point of a lot because we're circling the drain a lot on like how to have a comedic MTG deck, which I think is the thing a lot of people want and a lot of people fall short on. So, how much of your particular brand of peddling falsehoods do you think is propped up by you being a funny person?
Terrence93 _ followed.
I'll use what is it? An apocryphal? No, that's the wrong word. I'll use a story from my youth. My mom's an English teacher, and so I would write essays, and she would read them beforehand, and she would read them and say, "This essay is ass. This is bad, son." And then I would say, "Are you sure?" And then I would read it out loud, and she'd be like, "It sounds better when you read it out loud." And to me, I love you. You're paraphrasing perfectly. But basically, it was like that taught me very young that the quality of what I am physically saying is not always the best, but the presentation, I think, is like the cue the mega mind presentation. Like I think that's what both of us have at least going for us is like, we can say, anybody can say commanders are bad, but saying commanders are bad and I'd smash. Now that all of a sudden,
that's beauty.
That's what people want.
Right, I'm 100% with you because there's a bunch of jokes that I write and I'll look at it and I'll be like, that's really bad. Like, that's not a funny thing that I've said. It's not an interesting thing I've said. I know in my heart there is a way I can say this where somebody will go,
yeah,
and then it's going to work. And so I do think insofar as this being educational for the people watching, there are going to be times where your deck on paper is like, oh God, how do I defend this? And figuring out in person how the fuck you defend it and how you sell it is part of the fun. Like, you can't, Quips, would you agree that it is not desirable to try to build a perfect gimmick, or that it's not like realistic to build a perfect gimmick? You have to build a workable gimmick and then figure out the perfect delivery.
Yeah. I would say like half the time is like, if your deck is bad, you can upsell it to be more cool. Like if you're like, I bet you've never seen, and you play a card from like beta that no one has seen, and you're like, this card's really bad, but look how it's got, the board state's overwhelming. You're like, don't worry, guys. I've got something you're not expecting. And you play like I can't even think of a good card, like a Portcullis. I love that card. You just be like, Portcullis, I've saved the game. People will be like, that card's bad. And you're like, but it's so fun right now in this moment. Lich, any of those Lich's mirror stuff. Yeah, good call out, chatter. You just get to pull out cards and say that it's fun. And most of the time, if you're having fun, your confidence will make other people be like, he's having fun. How is that possible? His stuff is bad. And you're like, no, but you sort of like gaslight yourself. It's that self-hypnosis aspect of all games is confidence makes right. And so, yeah, I would say definitely though, like you can have a really good deck, but if you're mean about stuff, people will be like, you suck. You're like, I'd like to counterspell your spell. Even though it's like the right move, if you don't do it in a fun way, people will be mad at you. And that's just kind of how it goes. And so it's just the dynamic of, bad deck, but good pilot means it's a fun experience for people. Powerful deck, but with like a, absolute mean, like a jerk behind the screen, not as much fun.
100%. And I think this is a good segue to the next slide, which is how to navigate that piloting. So if you're going to take like a gimmick deck where you're like, I have some like creative leaps in the justification of this deck, but I firmly believe that I can sell this to people. Like the way I say, and what about this? And then I hold up a terrible card is going to make people laugh. How much are you leading with what the gimmick of the deck is? I think a pitfall I've often seen is when people have a gimmick deck, they feel like, well, if I simply explain the gimmick enough.
Oh, yeah. Explaining the bit makes it funny every time. And this is a rule of comedy. You explain the bit because your audience is so stupid. They don't know why they should be laughing. And that's you could quote me on that exactly verbatim. But the real secret, see, the bit of that is that's a bit right there. And so now if you didn't get that bit that I was explaining was a bit, now you know it was a bit. And doesn't it make it funnier? But basically the idea would be like, no, if you don't over explain it. I like, at least like genuine comedy thing is like rule of 3. She might be like, hey guys, I hope you guys left your keys with someone responsible because we're drunk driving today. You slam the drunk driving deck down. But usually it's sort of like any kind of deck conversation. I don't want to hear about how you're going to like demolish me every single, like in every possible like timeline. Just like say me who your commander is and maybe a little bit about what your deck does, just to get me prepare my body a little bit. But I don't need you to tell me exactly every maneuver you're planning on pulling. It's not like chess where it's like, all right, you've got this gambit. There's only so many moves. Each deck has its own thing. So I think you get to do the one like power slam of like, this deck is, I finally pulled like the Exodia of this deck. Boom. We're doing the thing now. And then that will get a chuckle. Then it's up to you to sustain it of being like, all right, now you go lurk back in the shadows, let people like adjust to it. And then boom, I got something else funny going on. You have a good time. And usually it's a lot of like, just know your audience. So if you're playing with like sweats, maybe don't play out the gimmick deck. You know what I mean? Because while you might be having fun, and I'm a big advocate for have fun with what you want to do, you also do want to make sure that you're like just a good human and like, hey, everyone wants to play like a little bit of serious Magic. That's okay. And then you're like, hey, let's bring out our lower brackets, you know, so that we can all have some fun. It's just a matter of communication, and crazy communication is good. Who would have thunk? But yeah.
So case in point for the fishing deck.
Yeah.
Is it reasonable to assume like it's funnier to not explain Atali? It's funnier to just say this deck goes fishing, and then on 7 mana go, all right, I'm gonna go fishing, and then slam Atali.
Yeah.
And then
because they'll see all the like 2-drop fish that just do nothing, or ETB, or like oh, Mystic Remora, that's pretty cool. And you're like, oh, it's like fish. She's doing the fish stuff. And you're like, Atali, boom. And like, oh, fish, you also mean that kind of fish. I get it. And you're like, that's kind of fun. And I think it helps by the fact that like you fully, again, this is just the communication aspect of it. You don't be like, I'm just a little guy trying to have a little bit of fun. Please don't hit me. Please, I'm just playing around. You want to be like, I'm still playing the game. Like, yeah, I have no blockers because I'm mana screwed. Because Quips never goldfishes his decks or whatever. It's fully swung on me. I deserve it. Like, I'm playing the game. Don't treat me differently. I'm just treating you all like my captive audience for this one bit that I want to pull off. And so
I think that's a really good point too, is like is not using the fact that you are playing something silly as a justification for why you should be treated differently. Like, you hope you're going to get to a different endpoint than most decks. Like, you hope you're going to get to a big laugh rather than a big explosive play, even though you might win anyway. But like, it's a huge fucking pratfall to go, hey, this deck is funny. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise.
Yeah. This isn't, like, you can't isn't a regular Atraxa deck. I promise. It's Yeah, that's, I definitely think is just like, yeah, you just fully go in and be like, this deck is going to do some fun things. Fun for me and hopefully fun for you. But don't treat me any different. Still swing on me turn 1 or whatever. Still elim me if it's easy. Because that's like part of the thing. But that's also like, you're playing your gimmick deck means you're probably knowing. It's like the same reason you play like Group Hug or solid goad. You're gonna like die eventually. You don't have a good win condition, but it's really fun to make your opponents fight each other or to draw cards and have your friends draw cards. That's sort of the same area I would put gimmick. Like gimmick, if it was a theme, I would put it up there with like Group Hug and like goad, because it's fun and the table usually has a good time with it. But you don't go in there being like, I'm gonna win this tournament. No.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. And I have a tangential to our current conversation, which is most of my content, is someone from YouTube is asking, do you think you can play Atali at bracket 3? Every time I pull out the dino, it just massacres the table.
So it's sort of like my steak is too buttery, my lobster's too good. Like my Atali just wins too often. I would
too
think,
rich.
Yeah, I'm too rich. I win too much, which is perfect. If you win too much, come over here. I'll make sure you don't win anymore. But I think that you can definitely like, what do you like about it? It's sort of like the question of like, you got to do a little bit of monk meditation. Why do I like Atali? Is it because it's a big dinosaur? There's other big dinosaurs I can play. Or is it because I like casting stuff my opponents have? There's plenty of other things that do that. And so you just do a little bit of like therapizing on yourself and be like, hey, why do I like this? And whatnot. But also you can look at it and be like, why do I need all these game changers or whatnot? And that's often an easy one. Take out any tutors you might have, or run more like interaction, but less like, or run less interaction, more fun, big things. That always helps me.
Cut interaction for more problems.
Yeah, cut interaction for more things. Because usually if you're like, I win too fast once Atali's down, then you don't care what everybody else's board state is, obviously. Yeah, someone said replace tutors with worse tutors. Yeah, Wish Claw Talisman. Apparently that's CEDH viable. And I hate that. It's a cool hand. It gives wishes. So
yeah, I mean, I think that one's a weird one because like it's only CEDH viable because of all the other like gas in CEDH.
Yeah.
I think at the average casual table, Wish Claw is actually way more acceptable than something like Vampiric. But because CEDH, like you only play Wish Claw Talisman if the other person getting it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Or you kill them before they get to even wish or whatever, yeah.
Right, like it's like, oh, this is Wish Claw Talisman. You'd get to use it if I wasn't winning right now.
If I didn't have a homeward path and gain control of everything I already own. Yeah, you're like, okay, well, you're just evil, bro. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like super fun. Like those fun cards that like get abused. You hate to see it. You're like, no, let me see the real you. No, the real you. And it's, yeah.
And Tony, if it feels kind of pub stompy, it may just be like your table could be really bad at Magic. Like Atali is very much a commander where people have to beat you to death before you have Atali, and if you play mana dorks, they should be using removal on those mana dorks. Or if you are like I've had a fucking 3 visits countered by my girlfriend with a fierce guardianship, because they knew that if I got to play on curve, I would be doing fucked up and evil things. And so it may be like, if the people you're playing with are only trying to compete with you once you are set up, and you're playing that more like Army Man or Rock'em Sock'em Robots style of Magic, where it's like we're all going to establish a board and then we're going to crash into each other. Like, yeah, Atali's going to win every fucking game, because you get to play everybody else's cards and you get to turn into a like, isn't it like indestructible trample infect?
I thought we were talking like regular Atali. Yeah, Primal Conqueror, where you're like, oh, by the way, I'm a Blightsteel Colossus on my backside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one you're like, okay, yeah, well, you're playing Blightsteel in the command zone. No wonder I'm winning too much. Really?
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah.
So there's ways you can power that deck down, but like Atali as a commander is bracket 3 appropriate, but it's also what I'm going to call meanie head appropriate. Like it's the type of commander where they should be cutting you out, like cutting out your feet from underneath you before you get to do the thing. Like for you, the thing is not Atali. For you, the thing is ramping into Atali. And once you've been allowed to do that, bang, 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 bang. And you getting to Atali is much closer to the finish line than it is the start line of that deck. And for other decks, their commander is much closer to the starting line. So it might be like a mindset thing. It might be a lot of people will take really bad decks, put Rhystic Study in, and call it a bracket 3 deck, which is what I will use to segue into our next question.
Perfect.
How many generically, in your opinion, how many generically good cards can you put into a deck to save the gimmick before you have ruined it?
Yeah, I think this just goes into like the question of staples, in the fact that like if you have a commander and your thing is based around your commander, you need Soul Ring and you need Lightning Greaves to protect it. And, you know, once you've got like the protection down, your commander can do stuff. And you're like, wow, who would have thought? But then you've dedicated maybe 5 to 7 cards onto like doing the thing and protecting your thing, but you haven't really developed the gimmick. You're just trying to be like, I'll protect the gimmick, but is it a gimmick even worth protecting? Like, I'm giving up more of the fun to now do just what every commander player does, which is, you know, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Now I got Rampant Growths. I got all this other stuff. And so I think there's definitely like a hard number where you're like, okay, a deck that's really bad, you can always throw a Rhystic Study in there to make it better. You can always throw in a lot of like the tutors to make it better. But that's the deck building mindset is like, if I wanted efficient and I wanted like tutors to make the game plan happen, I wouldn't be playing a gimmick deck. I'd be playing a fun tutor deck that tutors up the pieces I want. I'll play all the swords and the Hammer Nazan and everything, and then I'll just beat people to death like that. But if you want, it's sort of that the dynamic of like Commander has so many more slots available for fun cards. That if you want your gimmick to perform at like a bracket 3 or whatnot, it becomes not even that gimmick anymore. It becomes like the closest thing on the Venn diagram from it. So if it's like, all right, I'm doing I almost said Lord of the Rings, like that was not a real thing. But like you'll do like, oh, I like elves, right? Imagine elves weren't as big. So like, I'm going to do a cool elf deck. And then you're like, okay, what's the closest thing as I power it up? Oh, there's this whole sub theme of massive elves. So like Santa, the better example would be Santa. Oh, I'm doing a North Pole thing. So I've got obviously elves work for Santa's workshop. So I got a lot of cool elves. And you're like, all right, maybe I need to run a couple more elves that produce a lot of mana. So I can cast my, what's his name? Like the big guy, Bruce Tarl, not him, whatever. There's a bunch of like big beefy guys with white beards that look like Santa. So I can cast him faster. And then you're like, wait a minute, by adding in all those cards, I've just made elf deck. I've just made like bracket 3 elf deck that wins because elves are good and have mana and overrun and make 1 billion elf tokens. So that's kind of the idea of like, eventually the more strong you want, like the more you want to save your gimmick is doomed to die. Like you know you are, it's sort of like, why are you here? You were building a gimmick deck knowing that it is not long for this world. You shouldn't be trying to paddle water out of an already sinking boat. You should be embracing it and playing the fiddle while the Titanic sinks because it's beautiful. And that's cinema. That's what you're going for. You're going for narrative punchiness as opposed to like VV Cauldron, you know?
Do you have any examples or like maybe an internal list of cards where you're like, these are too generically good that they're always going to detract from the gimmick? Because like with your fishing deck, we have Mystic Remora and we have Atali, where they're both very good cards, but they still get to come in under the umbrella of your fishing. Yeah. But are there, like I had a friend who, and this is like, I've lit them up for this many times. They had a mutate deck and they were like, oh, it's really weak, so it needed Rhystic Study to quote unquote save the gimmick. And I was like, you are being ridiculous. Yeah. But let's pretend that they were doing a like librarian deck and wanted to play Rhystic Study because people study in libraries. Are there any cards in the game where you're like, even if you can make this fit the pun that you're going for, make this fit the theme, it's still too powerful to carry well? Or is it like anything can work if your salesmanship is good enough?
Yeah. I would say like you don't need the one ring. Like there's no theme where you need to throw the one ring in there. Like one ring, powerful, draw engine. It could be like a marriage deck. It could be a like any sort of fun finger jewelry deck. I don't know, but you'd be like, I'm still not gonna put the one ring in there. Like it's one of those cards where it's such a thematic thing, but you could also you're just absolutely rage baiting people as well because you'll be like, where's the ring that you didn't? Like you're like, hey man, this is I think way funnier for your opponents to be like, all right, so where's the one ring? Because you'll be playing the deck, you'll be like, all right, so. You're a librarian deck. Where's the Rhystic Study? And you're like, no, dude, I'm running a bunch of librarians. You know what I mean? They don't need to study. They need to keep up with the books. Where's my scroll rack? My scroll rack that does nothing. I'm not using it for nothing. It's just there. Where's my manifesting scroll? You know what I mean? I think it's fun to like lean into the gimmick and be like, how do I make up for the fact that even if I make this deck, because you also don't want to, you want to avoid the confusion where you're like, all right, everybody, we're playing our bracket 3 decks. Where I've got like a couple game changers of mine. I'm ready for like a serious game. And you're like, don't worry, guys. Moxfield Architects said that my deck is in fact a bracket 4 because I'm running so many game changers. When they don't do, you don't win. You know what I mean? You are not playing a bracket 4 deck. You are playing a bracket 2 deck with like funny hats on it.
Yeah, with bracelets on.
You could be the most well-dressed guy, but it's sort of, what is it? The Prince and the Pauper, where you're like, this guy's just he's a broke boy, but he's got like the 3 cards that make it look like he's somebody. It's very much like a Prince Ali type thing where like you can't wish to fall in love, but you can wish to look like a prince and like, do it, but that doesn't make you one yet. I don't know if that example is even good, but in my head that I feel like I cooked with that one.
No, that worked totally.
Yeah,
that worked 100%.
The audience is on board.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
The only thing that took away from it is the fact that you again look like a nude from the 50s.
Maybe that makes it better. That means I could on your stream, I could just take my full shirt off. I could just be walking.
You can start doing hand signs and everything will look vulgar, which is a unique opportunity. So I think we've sort of implicitly covered this, but can I assume that you are a hater of the like emergency infinite to make a gimmick deck win?
Oh yeah, 100%. Where you're like the break glass in case of like I want to win. Because then you're just like sandbagging the whole time. Because you're like, dude, if you could have gone infinite, why are we playing this? Like, you could have won 10 turns ago. Can we please pack it up? Let's play something else. As opposed to like, I'm all fine for holding the table hostage for a good bit. But if the bit is, okay, I've had my fun, suddenly I win. Everyone's like, how long could you have done that for? You don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, you're turning yourself into the, like, if we use a D&D allegory, you're turning yourself into the dungeon master rather than a fellow player, where it's like, I get to decide when the fun is happening.
Yeah. Like, pause, everybody. I know everyone's having fun, but actually, my deck kind of stops now. I've done the bit. I win with the infinite. Thank you.
Yeah. We are closing. Get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah. Closing time. Like, we could just pack it up. We didn't need to. And that's the thing. Like, if you have an infinite in your deck, if it is not intrinsically tied to maybe like it's Satoru Gojo, his power is infinity, and you have an infinite, fine, I'll allow it. If it's any other,
I won't fuck you. You bring that
scenario. And if it's any other scenario, you can't even say it. Say that to my blurred face right now. Exactly. You can't like. There's no reasonable explanation for it. For the most part, and you could always come. I mean, I'm the king of coming up with like bad reasons to include stuff in decks, but you should. You don't need to go infinite, bro. Just you can go almost infinite. That's almost as bad, but at least it's better. In my opinion. Yeah, I think you don't need to go infinite in your gimmick deck. You've got like better decks for that. You're sort of like polluting the idea of what a gimmick deck is by sweating, by tryharding. You know what I mean?
Well, I think I will contest you there a little bit, because my most fun, but I don't think it's very much. Like I agree that gimmick decks winning is never priority number one. A lot of my most favorite, more gimmicky decks are a gimmick that I'm like, how can I make this be relevant? But I think that goes back to what we talked about on the how do you make it win slide. Like you went from true bracket 1 Andy to like, how do I make this play Magic, period? Doesn't have to win Magic, doesn't have to be the threat every game, but how do I like give this a goddamn chance in hell to play Magic? And I think the last part of this that we should talk about is where the line is on tutors. Because I had a deck that was bracket 3, and even my bracket 3 decks always have to be a little bit dumb. That I very recently made the decision of like, I should chop this down to like bracket 2, because it's genuinely not good enough for bracket 3, but it is in bracket 3 right now because it uses tutors to help get to the pieces of the deck that I enjoy. So for you, where's the line on if you can only tutor gimmickry, are tutors still allowable,
Larry
or do you always
Legend
need like 99
710
cards
followed.
of straight suffering?
Yeah. Say that last part real quick one last time.
Okay, so if you're trying to build a gimmick deck,
yeah,
and there are a few pieces of it that are vital to work.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. I was like,
Yeah.
I heard everything, went into my brain and like rattled around for a second. Yeah, I think definitely there's like a time and place where I think the more fun gimmicks are ones that you don't need a tutor for, that are just like sort of inbuilt, that have multiple support pieces, and sort of synergize. Like you want stuff that synergizes with the gimmick. So if it's say the fishing deck we're using as an example, like you don't need to go tutor for the card fishing rod, right? You're doing enough of the fishing bit already by itself that you don't need just guys, I'm going to go and tutor for go catch a fish from Final Fantasy or whatever. Like they're going to get the idea is that you're fishing. And if your gimmick relies on like 3 pieces to make it work, I think that's where you sort of are like, okay, this is getting into that that realm of I'm like losing the gimmick. I'm now becoming something bigger and stronger. And I think that's totally fine. I think you can be inspired by a gimmick and then be like, let me build an actual like cool deck about it that's still like inspired from this. So the sort of pipeline of like gimmick to playing with my friends to the nuclear arms race that is your like consistent commander pod, and then you like slowly increase the gimmick's power level. I think that's fun, but I think having to be like, all right, if I want my my car deck, I need to go tutor for like the engine. What is it, like Gonti's Aether Heart or something? One of like the extra turn spells or any of those like stuff to make your gimmick work. Where you're like, I'm fast and furious, so I'm gonna go tutor for like Fury Snarl the land, and you're like, hey, it's Fury Fast and Furious. I'm not making a lot of good examples.
No, I get you. I think it's coming across. So it's maybe a better way to frame it is like, it's not necessarily the tutoring that's the problem, but if your gimmick deck relies on 1 or 2 highly specific cards, you're probably in the wrong territory for a gimmick deck.
Yeah, you have a gimmick sub-theme. You have a gimmick sub-theme.
A gimmick interaction.
Yeah.
A gimmick, like, but a gimmick interaction does not a gimmick deck make. And you can still have like do you have any decks where you're like, this is a deck that works, and then I have 1 3-card synergy that's in just for me to like jingle the keys for myself?
Yeah, I think like everybody, I mean, playing Universes Beyond and seeing that has given rise to, I think, plenty of like fun gimmicks where you're like, all of a sudden, my Golem, like he kisses your Astartes on the mouth. You know what I mean? He uses Vampire's Kiss on him, and you're like, I'm gonna kiss your Golem. Like that's like I would call those like gimmick, like microdosing a gimmick. And maybe that's just like kind of how it feels to play a lot of Universes Beyond. But I think those are like in your deck, you'll just come across those. I don't think you need that's just the nature of playing like a 100-card format. Every card's gonna be shuffled in. Someone's gonna have a board effect that makes everybody into like hawks or makes everybody fly. And you're like, oh, cool. I'm playing like a bunch of kids. Now I'm Peter Pan. Isn't that fun? It's like a gimmick. Like they're like flying to Neverland or whatever. I think those are like, that's just the nature of playing with friends, and being like, oh, this is fun. Like suddenly your card interacts with mine in a fun way that makes sense. So like I sacrifice my Black Widow to the Infinity Stone. Wait a minute. That's what happens in the movie. That's a gimmick. Like those I think can be, those I would call like microdosing a gimmick where you're like, oh, that's just a funny bit. But if you have an idea of like, all right, I want this to be what happens every single game. I want to have my Infinity Stone. I want to have my Black Widow, and I want her to die to activate it. And I have to tutor for both of those. The rest of my deck is just a regular reanimator deck. Then what are we doing? Right?
I'm playing normal ass Magic.
Yeah, I'm just playing normal Magic, but with this one small
movie scene.
Yeah, this one niche. I have a French guy, and then I have a plane, and then I have them say, oh, we've always been friends. and it's a Casablanca reference. Isn't that? And I tutor for it so I could say that every game. Like, you know, that's not a gimmick. That's like a one-off thing that happened one time, and then you remember it, and then you say that was intentional. It was intentional, by the way. I knew that was going to happen, but you didn't.
Okay, then I think these are the end of like the real questions. I do have some other questions I would love to ask you.
Yeah.
Which is, because a hard line I've taken before is that Kindred is not a gimmick.
No,
Kindred
that's just you're just playing
right.
You just play the creature type. Yeah, that's not a
it's a descriptor, and I've expanded that take into like playing a mechanical archetype that Wizards printed into the game on purpose. Not really a gimmick. And then, as he so often does, Veggie Wagon ruined my fucking day by telling me about his Bracket 1 combo deck, which is a deck built entirely around cycling. And so do you have any lines about like, when is an archetype too supported to be a gimmick, and when is it not supported enough? Because some people are like, this is my dumbass banding deck.
Yeah. And it's all
like,
bards. I got my bards and they banned. Like that, I think would be fun. Like if it was somehow they all had like they were all like bard creature. So it was like a bard Kindred that also had a lot of banding support. That would be fun one time. But then because you have to do the banding calculation, you deserve the deepest like layer of hell for that.
Deepest pit of hell.
Yeah. Like Dante's not going down that deep for the bard band deck. I see someone in Twitch talking about the pirate everything deck. I saw you talk about that one where it's just like the pirate flavor of everything. Like,
yeah, like I think you can have a flavorful deck that isn't a gimmick deck. And like that pirate deck is not a gimmick deck.
No, it's a fully functioning pirate deck from what I saw. And it's just like you've got some suboptimal like cards that are like, I plunder ye, I take your booty, but I exile your graveyard reanimator deck. And you're like, that's what you already wanted to do. You're like doing okay. It's sort of like you're reading at an 8th grade reading level, but that's impressive. You know what I mean? That's still better than most people can read sometimes. And so, I think those kind of decks where like you can have your thing is supported. Like it is fully like you're not doing anything wild to make this happen. And if it is like, I'm doing something so wild, I need a tutor for it. That's the other end of the spectrum of like, don't play that then, because there's actually you can't support like squirrels in biplanes and it's Rocky and Bullwinkle. Like it's moose and squirrel. You can't make that happen. Right? Like you're doing too much to make that happen. And so I think that's sort of the difference of like cycling. I could see that because there's that lady who does she's on a motorcycle from Doctor Who, and there's all the cycling cards that already exist and they have payoffs already. Like I can see that being a fun like combo deck and fun to build.
Fractal deck,
but that's not like a gimmick deck. That's like this is a cycling deck that's heavy into the cycling flavor, as opposed to anything else. It's kind of how I would view that.
I agree very much.
You gotta earn it, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a new slide for semantics up at the top because I know I think that'll be very important for the log form, especially because everybody in Magic, like we love being pedantic.
Yeah.
Even if we're trying to be funny, we're all love being
nerds.
pedantic.
Yeah.
And I think an important thing to understand broadly is we're using gimmick to mean comedic potential. We're not using gimmick to mean this is a like, it doesn't mean your deck just has a coherent vibe. Yeah. Gimmicks need to have a coherent vibe, but the coherent vibe of a gimmick will often make you laugh or at least exhale heavily through your nose or be like, oh, that's cool. Whereas you can have a flavor deck, right? Squares and rectangles.
Yeah. Because usually you're like, this deck is flavorful, but it's already doing something that like Magic wants you to do. They have like, you cycle your first card, it's free, and then you get a bonus. You get 2 cards or whatever.
So would you agree with the statement that a gimmick must be somewhat petulant to the will of Wizards of the Coast?
Yeah, I would say it has to be something that they're like, this is not supported. They would not like, they're never going to make this a thing. You have to be the one to take the initiative. In terms of like doing it's sort of cursed. I think usually gimmicks are like a cursed idea, something you come up with after a lot of melatonin or like a shower thought where you're like, I bet they could do this. Like snakes on an airplane. They're never going to do that as a set, theoretically. They could. I must be the one to put all my serpents into vehicles and fly the Parhelion into my opponents. Like that I think would be fun. Yeah, someone asked, Zeatora Mafia deck falling outside the scope of a gimmick. I think that's like, in my head, Zeatora is from like, what is it? The New Capenna, and that's already like super Mafia themed. I think depending on how, and again, it's very much what we talked about before, like presentation and like delivery. Because if you're like, I'm just running a bunch of New Capenna cards, okay. But if you're doing like, hey, this is my Zeatora, see? I'm going to go and get you money, see? Like that, I'm like, all right, now that's the gimmick. You're going to do the entire Mafia deck in 1920s vibe. I'm all for it. That's what I like. That's what the gimmick is. As opposed to like a supported theme of like, oh, you're sacking creatures. We're going to send this guy swimming with the fishes. There's a literal magic card called Swimming with the Fishes. And so, or like cement shoes or something like that. Those are the ones where like, okay, Wizards clearly knows that this is like, they're doing the Mafia thing. But if you lean into it way more than Wizards ever would, that's when I think it becomes gimmick territory for the most part. And again, that's the semantics of it. But I do think that's like a really solid example. TBH.
I like that a lot. And I do unfortunately agree with chat's paraphrasing of gimmicks have to be brat.
Yeah.
If you are not in some way subverting the intention of the designers when they made this card, or like you either have to go under and go like a different direction than what they intended, or as you said with the Mafia example, you have to go way over. Like you can't be medium.
Yeah.
You can't have a like pretty faithful adapt. You can still have a flavor deck that does that, but when you are, it's like there's like a hunter exam involved with calling your deck goofy, and having them all share a creature type, or having them all share I call them like word cloud decks, which is when you pick a mechanic and you're like, what if I just put in everything that had that mechanic on it, but there's not a greater narrative arc like you talked about, then it just starts to be, it's just like, I don't know, we built a functioning zipper.
Yeah.
That's not anything that special. We have a YouTube question saying, so like Aristocrats isn't gimmick, but Eat the Rich is and could follow an Aristocrats theme.
Yes.
I think that would be a dangerous line to walk because Aristocrats are really good at poisoning gimmicks. But yes, I agree with Quips that you could 100% show me an Eat the Rich deck and say this is an Eat the Rich gimmick deck. And you could have some aristocracy occur as part of that. And you would hit the mark.
Yeah. I think if you had, what is it? The Root-born Apothecary, the one where it's like you get infect if you sack your tokens. And you're giving people treasure for them to sack. And like, I dare you. Sort of like a Kibo, the monkey one, who's like, I get all my monkeys get stronger, so we kill you the more treasure you eat. I think that would be fine. Or like you punish them for having artifacts. Those kind of things where you're like, all right, it's less Aristocrats, but it's more like at least for me, that's like Eat the Rich would be like, all right, I got to make my opponents more mana advantage than me, and then kill them. Is the idea. And so if you're just doing regular Aristocrats, it's not the same. That's just like regular thing.
Yeah, and Jomi's asking, how about my Heiko Yamazaki Lantern of Insight deck brew? There's fuck all for Evasive Warriors and Samurai and Mono Red, so I'm struggling. I think the thing to understand with that deck is it's built around a mechanical premise rather than a narrative one. Jomi Bug is one of our resident Lantern control believers, and their most recent attempt has been, how can I make... and I think this is like an example of the type of thing Quips talked about with we're digging too deep. Like the early bird gets the worm, but also I've never seen a bird dig 12 hours for a worm in the same spot. You have a very specific mechanical interaction that you want to have go off, and that is oftentimes incompatible with the nature of gimmickry.
Yeah. Like what are you trying to do? Did you watch The Shogun and was like, I like this show. Let me make a Shogun like kind of vibe thing. That's fine.
No, they have a fucking wall-sized poster of Lantern of Insight that they stare at and pray to every night before they sleep.
Yeah,
and they looked at Heiko Yamazaki as a method to recast Lantern of Insight over and over to continue propagating this bit.
Yeah. The electric chair. Have you seen that was like you brought the cookies? Electric chair. The guillotine for you and your Uber driver. Like that's the kind of energy I think where it's like, all right, honestly, game respects game. If you like a card that much, that's probably me with like Brash Taunter. I love that guy. I wish he could be like a commander. But like Lantern of Insight, I feel like there's so many better ways to do what you're trying to do. Are you trying to recast Lantern of Insight over and over again? Go and make token copies of it, infinite token copies of Lantern of Insight. Then you get to do what you want to do in a better way. I think like that's the thing where it's like, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? Lantern of Insight, that is the monolith on which you will fall, right? Find a better, more supported, but a way that if you're like, I can't make Samurai and Lantern of Insight work. All right, scrap it, go back to the monolith. What do we want? Lantern of Insight. How do we make it do something that it's not supposed to do? And then go from there again. And then look around, see if you find anything. You're like, oh, maybe I could Ayara of the Realms or whatever. I can cast something from my graveyard once a turn. Or you're like Emery Lurker the Lock. I can recast things. Cool. Do you have to exile Lantern of Insight? I'm forgetting it off the top of my head.
No, you don't. You just have to sacrifice it.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, there's a lot of like blue things that let me recast artifacts from my graveyard. Perfect. Let me go scrounge around in the trash heap to find that. Yeah, or like Zadra, Hadron, like Grinder, whatever. Any of those like Scrap Trawler Loop. But it's not your regular Scrap Trawler Loop. No, it's a Lantern of Insight Scrap Trawler Loop. And so yeah, it's one of those where you're just kind of like, okay, go back to the main pillar. What are you trying to do? At least for me, that's how it works. When I come to like a roadblock, I'm like, all right, I'm actually, I can't do anything. Let me go back to the comment and figure out what they're trying to do again. So yeah.
Let me recenter this fuck ass screen. I liked Ristic Studies' video on the modern deck and had the idea when I saw Heiko. I mean, some dreams are meant to die, Jomi. There's sometimes you go like, man, people like fish, people also like chocolate. What if we gave them fish and chocolate and then it doesn't work?
Yeah. Or if you're like really set on it, why don't you just run like shape changers or whatever so that they're all, I don't know the Heiko off the top of my head, but is it like if you need to do combat damage to do something, run all those freaks, get them all in there, run all the unblockable things and then make them a different creature type. Like you can do a bunch of different, like you can still get to the same answer. You just have to show your work differently. So you're like, there's not enough mono red evasive bodies or whatever. Okay, then don't go exactly into mono red. Go into some other slightly adjacent thing that you can still do. I don't know. Again, it's sort of like we're putting so much effort into such a horrible idea that's one of the things we're like, okay, let me go back to the drawing board a little bit.
The way I would love to try to frame this for you, Jomi, is you can pick the path or the destination, but you can't pick both and just try to force it. And right now we've picked the destination is I'm doing Lantern Control and the path is Heiko Yamazaki. You don't get to pick both. You can pick a silly path and then you're not going to be sure where the deck ends up in terms of playability, or you can pick the destination and like Quips was talking about, keep going through different iterations of how am I showing the work to get there? What is my North Star of what I want to happen? And I'm just going to keep throwing shit at it until it works. And right now you're trying to pick the method. You're trying to pick the method and the result. And you genuinely don't get to pick that for any type of commander deck. You've smoked more than enough crack, dog. You don't need any, nobody needs to smoke any crack, first of all. And you definitely don't need any more.
Good save. Edit out him defending, edit him out saying nobody should do crack. Edit that out. People should do crack. I'm a try everything kind of guy. You got to try everything once.
Got him.
Just once.
Fucking clipped him.
Clipped him. No, damn it. It's my editor. No.
No.
Oh, well.
Quips and guac, more like quips and crack.
Yeah.
Heiko is bad and dumb, and I love her. And you can love her, but I do think it's important to note that like love isn't always enough to make an outcome happen.
Yeah.
Like wizards, because one of the things I see with this all the time, and I would actually love to know how you feel about what I call the morph conundrum, because I saw you had a deck of all face down things where people were like, how do I make a deck of all face down things and threaten to win? And I was like, you fucking don't, dog.
Yeah.
I like the closest thing I saw to it was maybe Zimone Mystery Unraveler, but I would say that one was like microdosing the gimmick. Like it was mostly a totally functional deck, and it had a few really, really flavorful moments. But like with this, sometimes Wizards just doesn't like you're subverting Wizards' desires so hard.
You just play a different game. Just play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. And that's one of the things I get a lot. I think I did like a half Yu-Gi-Oh! Style deck where I'm like, all right, you can play a lot of stuff face down. And to me, that's always more fun than just like, I want a big board of only face down stuff. You're like, no, I could just make things face down and from there do something cool. Yeah, you just run into like, there's not enough support for this to even be a gimmick of like, there's not enough like morph creatures where I could feasibly, if I was a mad lad and was like, I'm going to cast the morph cost on all these things. I'm going to put them all face down by like manually, not even using those cheat stuff that they have like Zimone Manifesting Dread or whatever. I'm going to do it all by the book, the way the card was written. There's not enough. You're like, that's not a gimmick. That's just a typo with extra steps, basically, or a kindred. You know what I mean?
That is a severe cut for sure. Sometimes you really are just trying to rizz up a strict mechanical theme, and that's also where I often will like cut my decks off. And I would like to caution everybody that like not every deck has to be a gimmick deck to be enjoyable. Yeah. One of my most enjoyed decks in the world is Henzi, and the theme of that deck is big guys hit you. It's not deep. Doesn't always have to be. It has to be if you want views on YouTube. But it's not the only way to have fun.
No. And there's people who like will never play a gimmick deck in their life because they're like, I can't win. This isn't fun. And you're like, yeah. Some people will just be like so competitive or so like into the chance of that like winning and a solid strategy sometimes can be like, I come from my dad's a big like historic battle gamer, right? So he plays a lot of those like Napoleonic battle stuff. And
that's crazy lore.
Those games, there is not any room to mess around. You can't be like Napoleon goes and joins the British. You can't play like that. That's not how the game works. And so he would never be like, I'm playing a British Napoleon deck. No, he's going to be like, I'm playing Napoleon the way that I want to play Napoleon, the historic way, the way like I want to win in this direction. So some people like, it's just, flavor over taste and whatnot. So just do what you like. Like, no matter how good a gimmick deck is, if you don't like the gimmick, don't play it. Play something like you build your own. You make the sandwich.
If we tell them to do what they like, they're gonna keep playing Heiko Yamazaki Lantern Control, and they're gonna blame us. We can't. Don't do what you like, Johnny.
Yeah.
Replace what you like with what we say is good.
Yeah, exactly. Don't need to. But that's also like you got to learn somehow. You got to be like, I got stomped. My Uezaki Lantern Control didn't work. And everyone told me that it did. And it's, you're like, wait a minute. Maybe they were right. The ancient texts were correct that this is not something I should invest in.
The haters had me dead to rights the entire time.
Yeah.
Disaster.
Yeah. I thought they were haters. They were truthers, bro. They were speaking facts. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the biggest bullet point is something. I believe you said this at the start, but my brain is so melted from weeks of streaming that I may paraphrase you wrong on accident rather than on purpose, as I've been doing all day. But maybe the best way to put it is a thing you said at the beginning about and reiterated recently about how the gimmick should not be a strict mechanical interaction. It should be a vision that strikes you out of nowhere. Like it should be a dumb and wrong thing that inserts itself into your head and cannot be correctly defined by a magic card interaction. Like if the gimmick can be explicit, like if you can get to one correct answer for how that gimmick happens, probably probably a trap.
Yeah.
Does that sound appropriate?
Yeah, I would say like 100% the you got to have like a vision, a narrative, like a story. Like what are you trying to say here? Cuz most decks are like I'm trying to say I win. Like that's the sentence you want to say. But with like a gimmick deck you want to say I hardly know her 100 times or whatever. Or like there's no humans in this. It's just all land. And so you just want to have your line, your sort of like a elevator pitch of like, hey, this deck, it wins sometimes, but also the thing it says the most is, look at me, I'm doing something fun, and you guys are having fun too. And so it just brings, I think someone said it, the gimmick flavor brings joy. It's that idea of, listen, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna make sure that it's not oppressive to the table because that's not fun for them. And maybe that's just like from my anti-stacks perspective of doing things. But generally, it's like you want to
not a stacks hater. Oh well, you are a bracket one, Andy.
Yeah, so it's sort of like that's the thing where like you can definitely play stacks in a like a fun way. I don't know, but not usually.
I think other people have to have I've made a couple of videos about this where I was like, stacks is soft cheating at low power tables.
Yeah,
because the rule zero conversation ends up being the stacks. I think stacks is very fun once other people are like trying to cheat at fucking Magic. Once other people are trying to like do
I'm not paying my mana cost. I'm tapping one green to like Elvish Piper or something in. Yeah, you're like, okay.
Yeah,
we're now the training wheels are off. Bring in Grand Arbiter.
God, Elvish Piper cheating him. You sweet summer child. But yeah, once we are like, I'm not paying the cost for shit. I am pulling cards out of my ass. Then I think stack starts to become fun. But if other people are playing gimmick decks, if we're playing like precons, like nobody needs that. We're already walking through molasses.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I think that the kind of you just again the communication of like, hey, gimmick decks aren't for everybody. They're not for every like even pod. You might have people who like you sit down, you're like, hey, I'm playing a gimmick deck. They might be like, play something else. You're not gonna have fun here. You know?
Fuck you.
And you're like,
I'm not gonna laugh. Fuck you.
Yeah, this is. I haven't laughed since Nom, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll play my not like soldier deck or something.
My forest fire deck then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
my napalm fleet. Yeah, exactly.
It'll be great.
Yeah. So that's generally it's just like like everything. You don't have to like something. You just have to communicate that you might not like it or that this is your idea.
I have a gimmick bracket 1/4 deck that runs as many game changers as possible to prove they are only good if you intend on winning the game.
That are only good if you intend. What does that mean? Also, someone in my
I think what they mean is if there may genuinely be enough. I think that falls into the problem of like. That's the situation of if there's no attempt to win. Like I think the good gimmicks are I'm trying to win quite badly.
Yeah.
But if you go I'm not trying to win, and I beef with group hug players about this all the fucking time, which is if you are devoted to not winning, not Magic.
Yeah, play like something else. Yeah.
Like it
play
should
a role-playing game with your home.
Yeah.
You
like
gotta have a PowerPoint. That is like the first pitfall of group hug is like, hey, I just want to draw cards and gain life and everything, and people vote and everything. But then you're like, wait a minute, I just lose. I get second place every time because everyone wants to keep me around, but I never win, and I'm basically like king making, and it makes for weird games where it's like whoever I don't pick loses first because they're not getting advantages. So you got to be like, all right, I'm punishing everybody for card draw. I'm doing like, that's why I think group slug is kind of like the natural, like better version of group hug. Because it's like, everybody's dying. We're all going out quick and fast. So even if I am kin making, like at least the game, we can run it back and I'll pick somebody else as my target. And I think similar to like the game changer thing, someone in my YouTube chat super chatted to say, Agatha's Cauldron, only bad tap abilities allowed. And I think that's sort of the same thing of like, you're running game changers, but if you are actively shooting yourself in the foot, you're not changing the game. You're just making it like you're just spending a lot of money to not.
You're giving a speech.
Yeah, you're being like, I'm playing Ristic Study, but then I will like oobly edit. I'll send it away into the phantasmal realm to show you that I'm better than you. I have all these cards, but I'm not
gracious.
using the. Yeah, I'm a merciful god. I'll let you know I have it by discarding it when I don't have anything to do. Yeah, it's one of those kind of things where, like, there's a million ways for you to be your own worst enemy before you even sit down at the table. There's a million. You can lose before you even sit down by building a really bad deck that never has a win condition, because you're like, I'm guaranteeing my loss every game because I'm not playing, not like saying optimally, but because I don't have a plan. I had like the concept of lantern control like thing. I put a deck list together. It will never win. It will do maybe the thing once, but it will not win. Is bad. You've already lost the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And all right, so I'll open saying they do have some win cons with like coalition victory and insurrection.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this at the smell there is off to me because you started from the standpoint of mechanical through line rather than narrative through line.
Yeah. You kind of like, you're just gambling. You're like, all right, I have a 1 in 98 chance to pull coalition victory, and then I have to get all my other ducks in a row to pull this off. But what's the story? Like, I have 5 color commander. I have like a land of every type. That's not new.
Yeah.
That's what people have been playing for since coalition victory was banned, you know?
I do want to circle back to Chaotic Deities. Is a turn-based RPG deck based off Agatha's Soul Cauldron a good gimmick deck? Like, you give your guys some bad tap abilities with no untap options, so you have to choose one a turn. Before Quips can undercut by us, I think turn-based RPG deck, that is a gimmick with legs. I think that is open-ended. I think there are a couple different ways you could mechanically achieve that. I'm not 100% sold on the execution of Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but I think it's a way worth investigating. So I would think, like, premise, yes, keep trying that. If it's playing bad, maybe figure out a different path to the same answer. But playing, like, a deck playing bad or goldfishing bad doesn't mean the premise is unworkable. What do you think, Mr. Guac?
Yeah, so you got the idea is like, okay, turn-based RPG, we're doing different things each time. That's fun. But yeah, again, I agree with, like, I feel like if you really like an idea, you'll find ways to make it work that aren't just one card. Or like, that sort of gets into that tutor thing where you're like, I want Agatha Soul Cauldron, but only bad abilities. I'm going to tutor for it. I have like 4 tutors to make sure that I reliably draw a tutor. I tutor for another tutor to get the Agatha Soul Cauldron. Then I'm tutoring something into the graveyard that I can get a bad ability for. I feel like there's a bunch of things that are just in general, like, hey, this thing taps to do this. This thing can tap to do a lot of equipment do that. So there's definitely ways to do turn-based RPG. I also think like the class thing from Final Fantasy could be a fun way to do turn-based like RPG, because you have all the like different classes. You're like, oh, I'm summoning my wizard. So you could do like a 5-color equipment or like recurring those things to summon in my wizard. And oh, my wizard died. He's
party mechanic stuff too.
Yeah, the party mechanic. Like, there's a bunch of things that you can do. So again, it's one of those things where like take a step back, be like, all right, what do I like about turn-based RPGs? What do I like about like and then what fits? So the way that helps me is usually I'll be like, all right, what's the first thought I have? And then I'll look up if Magic even has that going for it. So it'd be like, okay, wait a minute, party, that's a main mechanic of RPG. So you could just do like a fun party deck as like, not like the gimmick, because that's sort of supported already. So you do party mechanic, but also you run all the Final Fantasy equipment that come in with their own little hero guy. And then you can run Book of Exalted Deeds, Book of Vile Darkness. You run like fun, you lose the game cards or something like that, where it's like
portside based followed.
You have a bad guy you're trying to fight. You make somebody not like the arch enemy, but you have a dungeon. You're trying to do dungeon things. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. So again, that's sort of that's the fun creative part about gimmick decks, is if you're like, I want to do cycling. Okay, you Google MTG cycling, you find the cycling list. You're done. Your work there is done. You just figure out how you want to do it. But if you go at something like RPG Magic the Gathering deck, the only thing that's going to pop up is probably my shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else, you have all that free reign to come up with whatever you want. which is why I think everybody should build a gimmick deck. But I do think that like it takes a little bit of work to figure out how you're going to build it, because you can get EDH rec-ified of just looking at whatever your first commander choice is. What do they usually run? Oh, I'll just put that in with more theme of whatever.
Peter Pipata followed.
So that's a lot of yapping to say. Play that. That sounds fun. RPG deck.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds fun. If it's falling apart when you don't draw Agatha's Soul Cauldron, probably rework it. That's all. I think that is always a good line. And that is actually what was making me what made me revisit the first draft of my Oops All Niv Mizzet deck. Was like, oh, if I don't draw this category of thing, we have a total like fail to fire.
Yeah.
And that's you have to overwork the dough to get the bread you want. And that's never a good situation, because to other people, it looks like you are secret tryharding. And to you, you're like cranking fucking 90s in your head, just trying to say your particular line. Like, I think for me, one of the most satisfying things to do in the Niv Mizzet deck is say a second Niv Mizzet has hit the tower.
Yeah.
And that is a deck that has transitioned more and more to being microdosing the gimmick, because to make that specific thing happen requires overwork. It requires multiple highly specific cards. And so also a lot of yapping to say, good idea. Find ways that you can achieve it with a density of effect rather than one specific card.
Yeah. You're like, because you could very easily make a Oops All Niv Mizzet by just doing Dragon's Approach, the only dragons, Niv Mizzet. And that's like,
oh God, yeah.
And you're like, okay, the dragons that are approaching, it's always going to be Niv Mizzet. It's just going to be Niv Mizzet every single time. And that would probably be like a functional deck, because Niv Mizzet is just a good card and he draws cards off doing damage. And then you replace your Dragon's Approaches to go and get more Niv Mizzets.
Right.
And so you could easily do that, but I think like the weird cloning thing or whatever, I don't know your specific Oops All Niv Mizzets, but just going off of that, I love the idea. And that's the fun part about gimmicks, where you're like, yeah, it might not work, but you slowly be like, I started with Oops All Niv Mizzet and it became this more fun thing now. So yeah, that's fun. I had a thought and then I immediately lost it. Talk about Niv Mizzet.
That happens to me all the time.
It was
You're probably thinking about caked up Niv Mizzet. That thought takes me away a few times.
Yeah. Let me see.
Keyboard, yeah, Legend Breaker. Legend Breaker is the thing that is typically needed for that clone deck to work in the way I want, and why it's more and more moved to microdosing the gimmick, because it's I guess it doesn't have to. I can get multiple Niv Mizzets because it's Guild Pact who's the commander, so I can theoretically draw into like I have Niv Mizzet Guild Pact and I get Niv Mizzet Reborn. And then I can have like up to 5 Niv Mizzets on the table before needing to clone them. But the joy in the deck is cloning him, which requires a Legend Breaker. Which is where we get into the deck like trying too hard to force the thing.
Because then you're like, okay, I'm trying so hard to just break legends, but there's so many better ways to do this. It's just so like I think like gimmicks that are one-liners are like the weakest version, because you're like, oops, I'll Niv Mizzet, but I have to break legends. I have to like get all these different things. I think you could the gimmick is less about cloning the Niv Mizzets and more like this deck only has Niv Mizzets as its creature, or like non-legendary spark doubles and clones that come in as more Niv Mizzets. Like my only creature will be Niv Mizzet, and I'll just use this weird creature. That's, I think, where you can get into the more like instead of microdosing, you're like, all right, I've macrodosed it. Now it is not functional if I don't have a Legend Breaker, but I still get to say, oops, I'll Niv Mizzet. And the oops part is, oops, I don't have a way to I don't have anything else. This is the oops. Because a lot of times you'll be like, hey, it's got to be functional and it's got to be funny. Sometimes it could just be funny, where you're like, I am breaking my hand right now because I don't have a way to clone Niv Mizzet. I don't have a way to make him not die. Whoops. Oops. It's all Niv Mizzet, baby. That's it.
Whoops.
Yeah. Like, I fully made this sandwich. This is what I'm going to get. Yeah. Oh, that's what I remembered. And if your deck relies on one little, like the one piece, the One Piece is real. You need that in your deck to make it work. Like the Agatha's Soul Cauldron. If someone beats you to the punch and is like, exile your thing, it's gone, by the way. You can't ever get it back. You're like, now I can't play the game. You're like, oh, your mirror box, it's gone. I suplexed it. You can't play anymore. You want to, that's why I think you want to have like redundancy, funnily enough, in a gimmick that you want to have like synergy. That way you are doing, you're more resilient. Your bit can survive removal. And finally, I remember my other thought. You build a lot of these gimmick decks in the vacuum of like, this is perfect. It'll work every time. But no plan survives contact with the enemy. The second you're at the game table, suddenly everything is like, oh, I had to discard my whole hand. I don't have ways to redraw stuff. All my stuff is in the graveyard now. I can't do anything about that. Or like I can only play even mana costs or whatever Void Winnower, that stupid ass card is. Like I can't play anymore. Like, you know, those are some of the things you have to think about if you really care. If you're like, I want my gimmick deck to sometimes work. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Very real. All right. I think that is a good place to end it. I'm going to cut the recording. If there are any last minute questions, we will answer or not answer as his lordship sees fit. But Quips, thank you very much for coming onto the stream. Anybody who's not already following Quips and Guac, go check them out on YouTube, check them out on Twitch. Are there any other platforms where you're
I've been getting into
people?
Yeah, I've been shaking my booty cheeks on TikTok. It's still Quips and Guac over there. More variety shorts content over there. It's just fun.
King Cow followed.
But yeah, the main one, if you want actual like good content, theoretically, it's the YouTube. But getting more into Twitch, so we'll see. It'll be hopefully I'll be more visible as opposed to, what is it? Super pixelated like I've been.
It's good. You're too powerful.
That's right.
You're too powerful in high def. We need you pixelated for the people. It's like a biblically accurate angel.
Yeah, you can't, your mortal eyes can't look at it.
Right? If we could perceive you in all your glory, they would be blinded and unable to build their deck that was all about motocross.
Yeah, you're sort of like opening the Ark of the Covenant. You just like all the spirits would go around, your little eyeballs would pop out of your head. That's the best you can do.
Absolutely. All right, Quips, we are going to let you go now. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a good time, and I think this will make a very good and hopefully educational YouTube video.
Yeah. Hopefully, if you really need my high def, I can send over my video if you need to throw me in there. But
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. This is gonna be so much better because of the camera issue.
Okay.
We're gonna be able to do a lot of like close cut-ins to you
to just like
totally blurred out.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you to all of Maldhound's viewers for having me here and for forcing him to enjoy this. I've had a great time. Little heart there, but I'll be kicked to the woods now. So
phenomenal. I'll talk to you soon, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for having me. All right, you're gonna have to kick me out. Oh, he ended. Wow. Look at him go. He undocked me, guys. All right, now we can go back to the real star of the show. Look at me, guys. Sheesh. Think. All right. That doesn't end my Twitch, does it? That'd be funny if it did. I don't think so. No, I should still be here. Hey, who up? Who up right now? Yeah, it's back to Guac City, baby. All right. We're probably going to end the stream too a little bit just because why not? The main event's gone. The Maldhound is gone. But these are the real ones. Who up? Let me see who's here. Sound off in the chat if you're a real Guac. If you're a Guac head right now. If you're a real one. Let me hit the screen. Bam. Who up Guacin? Who lurking? We still here. Mwah, let's see it. How's everybody doing? Hey, what? Mr. Bacon Boy 54? Don't say that. You can't say that. All right. Now that he's gone, he's not going to get any part of this. 50 gifted subs. He doesn't, who cares? That'll show him. No, but appreciate you, all y'all who were here. Was that fun or what? Was that kind of pog? Was that kind of epic? Was that kind of, you guys have fun with that? Did I embarrass myself, chat? I feel like I didn't. I feel like I held my own, right? I was a little nervous. I feel like I was talking like a little too much. But it's one of those things. You know, that was really cool. Banger of a stream. Thank you. Crushed it. Yeah, thank you. Pog, nice stream. Nice to actually make a stream. Usually live when you're at work. Hey, we're gonna try and stream a little bit more frequently. Maybe the Saturdays. Hey, I'll set up a schedule. But yeah. So when he makes that, you're gonna have to go and swarm the video and say he's better than you in every single way. Because guys, he's been blowing up my phone for like months now. Like, let me be on the for real. Feel free to clip this, by the way. Yeah, Maldhound's been reaching out, you know, and you know, as a charity thing, I'm pretty sure it's like a Make-A-Wish that like he got me on there anyway. So usually I wouldn't like stoop down to somebody so bald like that. And I pull my hat back and I'm avatar bald. No, wouldn't that be funny? Like this whole thing, all this hair, fake. Excellent time, Guac. Thank you, Targ 8897. First time chatter. Perfect. We got that. We got the follow.
Targ 8897 followed.
Boom. I couldn't say anything when you guys followed or like prime subbed because I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of him. I didn't want to be like, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow. Hey, thanks, Maldhound viewer. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, Peter Patter. Yeah, you know, I just got someone needs to ride the bus. You know what I'm saying? Like choo choo. Like we're trying to carry him a little bit. He clearly didn't know what he was talking about most of the time, so you know your boy had to come in.
Hey, thanks for the subscribe. Very cool, very nice.
Boom.
Kiss on the mouth. Mwah.
Targ, do you see that? That's the kind of content I wanted to be able to talk about, but he silenced me. Kiss on the mouth to you. Mwah. See, that's what I wanted to do, and that's just to Targ, nobody else. And that's part of the fun at this stream here, is you get a kiss on the mouth. You can also donate bits, and it reads it out loud, 100 bits. So I've been building a little bit of question time. I got some time before Din Din. Building an otter tribal deck recently. Noticed that every otter is also a wizard, which seems odd. They are literally wizards of the coast. Ban this guy. Hey, Nick Tater, first time message, get out of here. Hey, you're gone. Just kidding. That was funny. By a non-blurry 1995 dude. You can't say the full name. You can't say that. Twitch is gonna start flagging me. They're gonna be like, "What is this guy? Is this guy showing hole? Is this guy showing balls on stream right now?" 20 gifted subs, I would. This whole time I haven't even looked at my viewer count. There's 5 people. What? No, I'm just kidding. We've been talking for 2 hours? Whoa. Sorry, guys. Golly. Can't find the Discord link. You can't share the deck with your Soul Cauldron. Oh. You should be able to... I'm pretty sure I put it in most of the descriptions. Quips and block him from logging in. So. Alright, gamers. It's about lunchtime. Guac Tua? Yeah, for real. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm about to go make some yummy dinner. So, thanks, Maldhound viewers, for coming and following. Get back to him. All right, I'm ending everything. Good night, everybody. Sleep tight.